Good morning. Well, it's probably not morning, but whatever. Um, Porsche, the black one, the Dark Knight, has a PCM 2.1 audio system. This is the original audio system, and if you looked at back at the older videos, you would see it was in there and it was scratched up, and but it had a gremlin. Uh, Sometimes the music would play, sometimes the music wouldn't play. It was like, but anytime I worked in the car, because I would disconnect the battery, and then music would play. But then I'd go drive somewhere, and on the way back, the music wouldn't play sometimes, and sometimes it would play. It was a freaking mystery, and then it would play consistently several times in a row. Hello, Biscuit. Do you have to come every time I'm talking? Okay, um, so I did through all these troubleshooting steps, and there's these two fuses that go to this system. One goes to the amp, and one goes to this system. And it was driving me nuts, and I started doing a bunch of research, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to buy a replacement system. You know, get a like an aftermarket Pioneer, which I hear is really popular. And I was really researching, and I really wanted to do it, but then you got to buy this like fiber channel connect thing to work with the Bose thing, or you got to do all this work, and then the labor would be expensive. And I was like, oh gosh. And then because it's this MOST head unit replacement thing for a 997 is like $600. And then the main thing I wanted to get was the Bluetooth or the USB capability. And one of the more frustrating things is I hear that if you have an older Porsche, not quite a 997, maybe a 996 or a 993, is Porsche now makes a head unit replacement that is modern and updated, so you can get those capabilities. So I was like, oh my god, that's so irritating. So, alright, back to my issue. So on one of the forums, I read that you can take this unit out and you can send it off and get it repaired. And I look at this and the knob is bad. This is bad. This thing right here is supposed to be an SD card that's supposed to come out. Doesn't. This is all worn out. I guess the guy drove with his fingers on here while he was driving. I'm just gonna tune the music until the radio stopped working. So I can't just get a screen replacement because that's a popular thing. These three little scratches can be replaced by that. So I was like, you know what? I've bought some parts from a salvage place, and on the East Coast they have a couple wrecked Porsches, and so they were listing a one out of a 2006. It was expensive, it was like $600, and then by the time you get it shipped to Hawaii, it's like $650. But then I go ahead and I put that in there, and sure enough, I'm all excited because when I first install it, because I had the battery unplugged, it works. I'm like, yay! And then I drive the car and it still works, yay! And then the next day it doesn't work. I'm like, what the hell? And then I'm like, well, I go take the car for a drive, and then it doesn't work. But then I stop and get gas, and then it works. So I was like, huh, well, it's not this. So then I'm like, well, what can it be? Could it be this? So then I go and I just test by finding where this thing is. But by the way, this little Bose amplifier is hidden in the front trunk under this little thing where there's the compartment that holds the tow hook. You know, the little bolt that goes in the bumper for when your car needs to get towed. Yeah, that's where that thing is in. So then I was like, well, maybe this thing is bad because I did notice when the music played, it was unusually bassy. And I've heard that be the complaint from a lot of people about the Bose. Me, I like, you know, the hippity hop boom bang boom music, so that didn't bother me so much. But I said, you know what, let's try, because this, a replacement one of these, is only $100. This is a popular item to get from the easy item to get from the salvage yard. So I got this, put that in, and boom, music turned on. And all of a sudden I listen to the music and I'm like, oh, the music sounds really different. And the number one key difference I noticed, because you may not notice that the music sounds different, but when I turned the volume down low, the old amp, the lowest setting was still pretty loud. Like it would be like, and then silent. Versus this one, the new one that's in the car now, it goes lower, just really low. You know, you can tell that, oh, there's a big difference. And it seems like all the channels are working correctly. And I think probably what has happened is one of the channels has gotten bad. I don't know how. Maybe it overheated. Maybe moisture intrusion. I don't know, because it was a used car. So my fix for my Porsche PCM 2.1 audio issue, because this is a popular issue, intermittent. Sometimes the music would play, sometimes it wouldn't play, and usually it would play after the car had gotten warm and you'd driven it for half an hour or so, was replacing the amp. I'm pretty sure the head unit didn't need to be replaced. Now, back to why didn't you just get the Kenwood system if a used replacement system costs the same as that head unit replacement kit? Well, then you got to buy a $500-600 kit, so I was looking at $1,500 or $2,000 by the time I picked out what I wanted. Yeah, because it's a neat car, and I believe a manual 997 is going to be a collectible car, and probably already is. Having the original stereo is going to be better for anybody who's going to purchase or save the car as a collectible. And then on my local Porsche club, someone mentioned that you can only make certain adjustments in the car either at the Porsche dealer or via this. And so one of those things is when you press the lock button, what doors unlock? When you drive, does the car, I guess it's locked. When you press the lock button, what doors unlock? Both doors are one door. And then the mode on auto lock. And then you can adjust the rain sensing wipers through this, and the daytime running lights. And there's another setting as well. So I'm really glad I put in another system and didn't remove this. I now feel bad for all the people who have removed the head unit to try and get a more popular one. The guy who had mentioned that to me also mentioned that they make this little kit you can plug in, and then you get all the Bluetooth capability and USB capability. So I'm going to look into that, because that kit's less than $200, like $150. A lot of times it's sold through Amazon. I'm going to look into that. I'm not really too sure, because all I did is I just made a mixed CD and put it in the car, and now I'm happy. And a mixed CD costs $1. You know, I can make like one of those every couple months and be happy. I don't need to have the Bluetooth. But I am hoping that they make a updated unit that does have that, because it would just make sense that Porsche would do that, but I don't know, maybe the car's not old enough for them to want to do that. I know that they sold a lot of Porsche 997s. Yeah. That's it. I hope this information was helpful for anybody who has a Porsche with the 2.1 PCM Bose system, because I drove myself crazy and probably put, near a dozen hours trying to figure this out. But you can find a video on how to take this out. It was super easy. Probably the easiest thing I did on the car. I swapped it out in about 40 minutes and was like, wow, that was easy. The amplifier is a little weird, because it's literally, these mounting brackets are silly spring clips. They're a pain in the butt to put back on. This clip here, you push down, come out. This one, there's a little squeeze. And then this one is really goofy. The top one, there's a little lever that goes up and unlocks it, and it was the weirdest thing to figure out. I couldn't figure it out. The manual shows like an arrow and an arrow, but it's not clear. But this top one was really bizarre, and it was really weird to put those clips back in. It doesn't, there's holes, but it doesn't screw in place. There's these little spring clips, and it came with one big one on this side and two little ones on this side, and one of the little ones flew down into the carpet. So I used one of those old school big C-clamp paper clips to hold it in place, even though it probably is fine without it. More stuff to come on the car. I ordered some stickers for it, and I've been trying to polish it and get the gray out. It's looking really good now. I've now polished it like 4 times. I'm using a really thin cutting polish because I don't trust the paint on the car. it's looking good. Check out this drone footage that we made. I'll talk to you later.